Their beauty, size, and power captivate our eyes. Wildlife is indeed impressive, but a growing criminal activity is bringing the decline of rhinos and elephants and other species close to extinction. The problem is not only the decline of these amazing species, but also the decline of complex ecosystems that we all depend on. Increased poaching and habitat loss that decreases species populations. Escalation in illegal wildlife trafficking. Increased demand for illicit natural products. Three main drivers of an unprecedented social and environmental crisis that can only be solved with coordinated international and national efforts.
For the first time, the Global Environment Facility put forward a program on addressing the issue of poaching and illegal wildlife trade, simply because we are under a severe crisis that really threatens the existence of large mammals in Africa, including elephants and rhinos and other lesser species like pangolins. I think it's important to understand why these multifocal area projects addressing the issue of illegal wildlife trade. And it's because from the biodiversity point of view, it's about the wildlife. It's about the global environmental benefits that the GEF is supporting countries to deliver. From the point of view of land degradation, it's all about the communities around and sometimes inside of the conservation areas, because without their support and without them gaining directly and indirectly from wildlife, there is going to be really no incentive for them to participate in the conservation of wildlife.
Wildlife conservation is about poverty reduction. Only with the inclusion of the population who needs to be part of the solution, we will have a chance to win the battle against a growing criminal activity. With greater support, some countries are being able to take the lead and improve the protection of its natural resources.
What we have done the last years is try to align and fit our strategies to the strategies in the regions. There has been a lot of illegal activities going on when it comes to mining, logging, and Nyasa itself, it's bordering with Tanzania. So we believe that the whole efforts that will be taking place in Nyasa, they will be reflected also in all actions that have been taken in Tanzania.
We're convinced as the German government that you only can do something meaningful about illegal wildlife trade and poaching if you follow an integrated approach. And what does this mean for us? It's basically two things. So first, you have to integrate law enforcement for anti-poaching law with community development and sustainable development activities. Because only if you have people on your side, local communities, and they see the benefits of having intact wildlife, for example, through ecotourism activities, and they are benefiting from wildlife, then they will become guardians, obviously, of this wildlife, and it will be much easier to enforce anti-poaching law and measures.
The Philippines is a mega biodiverse country, so that means we're one of the 18 countries that have 70 to 80% of the globe's biological resources. We have a lot of endemic species that can only be found in the Philippines. Almost 50% of our major taxa, major species, are found only in the Philippines, nowhere else in the world. So we have estimated that around $230 million is lost from tourism alone if we lose our native species.
Partnerships matter. Finance matters even more. Despite the gloomy scenario, several international agencies are mapping financial flows that are helping with knowledge exchange and global coordination, essential elements for successful interventions on the ground.
The key recommendations are to continue with the global coordination at the headquarters level for these different donors so that they exchange information on what they're doing at the regional and country level, and then more at the national level coordination with some technical support. So that's what we want to really emphasize, is that there needs to be discussion for key issues that aren't receiving sufficient funding. So for example, demand reduction and law enforcement, intelligence-led policing, and some efforts that really are essential. It will be key to get the right amount of global support towards those things at a global level.
Illegal wildlife trade is about the most important environmental issue facing Africa and the biodiversity of Africa. And the reason is not just because we are losing megafauna by a high magnitude. It's because this activity is fueling a lot of illegal activities across the entire spectrum of the societies in Africa. It's fueling local conflicts. It's undermining the governance structures of African countries. So it's so insidious that it introduces itself in many other environmental issues that become much more difficult to deal with. So it's not just the tragedy of losing, our big mammals and the charismatic fauna that really inspires the world into conserving ecosystems, to conserving habitat, but it's because it has effects across the entire spectrum of African society. So we need to deal with this urgently. Otherwise, we're going to lose this battle, and the people in Africa are going to be the ones that are going to lose most.
Failure to stop illegal wildlife trafficking is a recipe for starvation, insecurity, and all sorts of collapse in our society. The good news is better funding and better coordination of these donors is bringing solutions on the ground. Animals matters as much as job creation, energy, economic development. Saving these animals is really about saving ourselves.